go back to this.
I reckon that. Yeah, that's picking us up all right. Oh, do I have to start that again? Do I really have to start that again? You didn't miss much. You didn't miss much. Honest. Oh, tell us you can hear us.
Please.
Someone. Come on. I know you're out there.
I actually get it on my phone.
That's true, yeah. Ah, dear. Oh, loud and clear. Thank you. Sean, if it is your name. I always forget whether your name actually is Sean or not. Right, so basically, Wrexham today established themselves as statistically the greatest team in the history of Scottish football. No other team has a 100% record in Scottish football except for Wrexham. Celtic, pair. Rangers, who are they? We are the greatest team. The Ayr United media team are not so impressed, but having said that, we'll refresh in a minute, don't worry. Having said that, can they come up with the mathematical arguments to defeat what I'm saying? I don't think so. There you go. So Wrexham, the Tartan Army march on. with a fame. Actually, we didn't win. We drew, didn't we?
Yeah.
Oh, right. That's 50%. Oh, we're probably about
win on penalty.
40th best team in Scotland, aren't we? Darn. But we'll re-establish our credentials as the best team in Scotland when we beat an Irish or Welsh team in the next round.
We beat TNS.
Oh yeah. Bring that on. Hello, chums. I hope you can hear us now. If you're wondering why you couldn't hear us before, it's because. Oh, life's complicated, okay? Wrexham win then. Final score 1-0. I've been through this already, haven't I? Yeah. Final score 1-0. Wrexham taking the lead in the 70th minute. Great finish by Jake Bickerstaff on the pivot. And then equalised in the 86th minute, by which point they'd taken control of the game. At least helped in part by the fact that we started the game with 3 young debutants. I mean, only Szczepaniak out of those 3 played any part in pre-season. They really have been way off the first team, the youngsters, although they did well, to be fair. Jake Bickerstaff up front, who scored the goal as well, and young Cleworth at the back, who did well. And then the 3 subs we brought on were all brought on for experienced players. So we ended up with 6 debutants on the pitch by the end. And so we couldn't help wondering whether we were making those changes, possibly to get us out of the competition. But the corner was played into the near post, flicked on inadvertently by one of those debutants, Matthew Jones, and headed in at the far post by the centre-back Roscoe. Game went to penalties. Every penalty in the regulation 5 was scored by both sides, so it went to sudden death. And, well, that was where Szczepaniak, who just before the equaliser made an excellent tip-over save, had a decisive moment. He dived to his left for McCowan's penalty. McCowan went down the middle, maybe hit it a bit too hard, and Szczepaniak therefore was able to get a good foot on it and clear it. Decisive penalty was by Jake Lawler, and it wasn't the best. He was very lucky because the keeper, Hare Reid, got a good touch on it. It looped in the air but went in, and Wrexham are through to the next round. And the thing I was about to say when thankfully I realised that we were mute is that it's been a really good occasion. I mean, Ayr have absolutely, I think, on the pitch and off the pitch, distinguished themselves. The media team have been fantastic, and it's been brilliant chatting to them. It's a shame we had to commentate, or we would have carried on. Their fans were magnificent, and I just want to say, 421 away fans, Ayr Wrexham fans. Neither side necessarily was desperate to win, and both sides put out understrength teams. And to come for that, that is proper support. And I hope they had a brilliant day, irrespective of the results, because they deserve it. Definitely. They made the atmosphere here. A crowd of 1,600. It was absolutely fantastic, wasn't it, really?
It was fantastic atmosphere. And, to bring 421, considering, I wonder what our average away attendance is here. It's got to be well under 200 maybe, It was fantastic. They didn't stop singing even though they went 1-0 down. It did remind me of the better days when we were in the league. So, it's fantastic to see. And they gave a good account of themselves when they went 1-0 down. They rallied back. They got a goal. And it's cruel to go out on penalties. We all know that. And we've been on the receiving end of penalty losses. So, from a Wrexham point of view, it's great to win and to go through. But they've conducted themselves excellently.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, again, a bit of further context. I remember the first season we were in non-league being really shocked by the away support or lack of it, because there was only, I think there's only, if I remember correctly, one game all season where we had more than 100 away fans, which was a hell of a shock to a club that previously opened a whole stand behind the goal to the away fans.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were brilliant. They were absolutely superb, and made an occasion out of this, and it was an enjoyable game of football, wasn't it? Wrexham with this very youthful-looking side. I mean, you got the 3 debutants, you got players like Tollis and Redmond who are playing to get match fitness. You got players like Lawler who are playing because he's missed a lot of football and we need to get him on the pitch.
Yeah.
And Wrexham had a slightly disjointed looks at them, but we still were able to, to keep it tight, and defensively until quite late in the game. I suppose we held Ayr at bay when they had good spells of possession.
Yeah, I thought the back three played excellently. Cleworth, a young debutant, did well. Tham, he's a quality player, and Jake Lawler, a little bit rusty obviously from his suspensions, but he played really well. I thought as a back three they played excellently, and the 2 wing backs, Rutherford kind of towards the end of the game started getting caught out, and that's when they brought in another debutant, Kean Williams, and Ban and Bob. I thought had an excellent game, especially the defensive side, because that's where he's been caught out a few times, where he actually dropped back, he was winning balls, he was putting a lot of fight in, so it was great to see.
Absolutely, yeah. The defence did well, I thought. I mean, Farm coming back from loan as well. He was very solid, especially in the first half, I thought.
Yeah.
In midfield, Barton was up and down, but he made some good interceptions. He played some good passes.
Yeah.
Redmond was very frustrating. He had a couple of moments of real quality.
Yeah.
And a lot of moments of sloppiness.
Yeah, it's just I think obviously a young player kind of cut that out of his game. He'll be a better player for it, I think.
Yeah. Absolutely. As our colleagues they're heading north.
Yeah, we're heading off. Thank you guys for what has been a brilliant day. Not the result that we wanted. Probably not the result that you wanted either. But yeah, thanks for having us, and well, maybe next time we'll have a replay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like we've already negotiated, haven't we, a week on Wednesday, because you're available for that, aren't you? Yeah. Excellent. We would love to do that. Exactly that. Oh, brilliant. Have a safe journey back. There you go. Absolutely. Yeah. If you can draw with us, hey, no question. So Bickerstaff was lively up front, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Bickerstaff was, had that youthful verve and enthusiasm and confidence.
He did, and it was good to see. He was always going for the looking to attack, always going for the shot. The goal I thought he took excellently. It was a difficult shot. He took it on. It was like back to goal on the pivot. It's one of them ones that you see strikers every week skewering, but he puts it in the bottom corner as if it was
Great
like
finish,
an experienced pro, and it was really good to see. And like with players like him, the future is bright for the youth system, I think.
He got around the sides of them a couple of times and didn't quite capitalise. The first one he should have pulled back and tried a shot, and it was from a tight angle. And well, we think it was saved. He thought it was saved, but the ref gave a goal kick. And then the second one, I criticised him in the commentary. Maybe I was being a bit harsh. He again had a man over, and he did try to pass this time, didn't quite get it right. McIntosh was sliding in front of an open goal and couldn't quite get the touch. But yeah, he did cause problems, didn't he? He did really well. On the comments, a couple of questions coming in. The first one, okay, again, I think it's Sean. Sean saying, why have you disabled comments on the YouTube interviews and the highlights? Oh, I didn't know we had, to be honest with you. I wasn't aware of that. So I don't know. And then Tardude was saying, now, interesting, Farm and Lawler, the new defence partnership. Well, I'm sort of glad Farm's back. But Pearson's the number one centre back, I would say. He
is, but with them, you've got Sean Pearson, Michael Chambers, Doug Tham, Jake Lawler. That's 4 quality centre backs there, which is always good. If we want to start playing this 3 at the back system, we need 3 established centre backs playing. And Tham's a quick player as well. He'd be the ideal third choice, with Lawler and Chambers interchanging. But Pearson's number 1. I think he's first on the team sheet every week. He's the captain, and he puts in 110% in week in, week out. It could be to be honest, if he played in today's game, he'd be the one that be dragging the youth players through it. it's one of them things. I think I wouldn't. Oh, you couldn't drop Pearson. He's not undroppable, but he's a fantastic player.
Yeah, exactly. He's close to that at the moment, I would say. Anyway, you know.
Yeah.
I would say that if we run 3 at the back, and I'm not convinced that we were looking to do that in close seasons. Like I've been saying in commentary,
Yeah.
we don't have wing backs. We got Barn and Bob, maybe fair enough, but all right. I think I'll repeat what I said in commentary. Is the best way to put it. I love Paul Rutherford, but he's not a wing back, and he had real defensive problems. He finds it difficult stopping players and running past him. Well, that's obviously going to be a major issue if you're playing at wing back, and that's not a criticism of Rutherford. It's just that's not his game. And as I said in commentary, if you put Leo Messi at left back, people would run past him. That doesn't make him a bad player. But if he did go 3 at the back, you want centre backs who are good on the ball as the wider ones. Well, Chambers clearly is confident on the ball and can pass out from the back, and Farm can as well.
Yeah.
Farm's game is that he can drill good, accurate passes in. So Farm suits that if we went that way. But the problem is there's other parts of the pitch we'd have to sort. I think Farm has a role to play. I think this season personally, I'm personally not so sure about Chambers defensively. And I think Tharm's got a role to play.
Yeah, and I think with Tharm's age, he could be the natural successor to Sean. So why not give Sean and Doug a chance together? With a player like Sean, kind of not holding his hand but being that person in his ear. It could make him out to be a fantastic centre-back. He's already got all the ingredients of it. He's not shy of a tackle, but he's not stupid enough to start him flying in, and he's good on possession. He's tall, obviously, and he's a physical presence, but he's quick as well, which is a modern-day centre-back. So I'd like to see them two together, and I hope at the course of the season, with injuries and Jake Lawler getting sent off, we'd like to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. As Robbie 626 826, beg your pardon, my eyesight's not where it was. Robbie, of course, the famous pirate, saying he'd give Farm a go if we did do 3 at the back, but he thinks a back 4 is a better fit for us. 100% agree with you on that. I'd be inclined to go 4-3-3 rather than 4-2-3-1 because it just gives a bit more solidity, and I'd have Akil Wright in the holding role. I thought when I saw the team on Tuesday, I thought that's what we'd done, and we did the pre-match 5 minutes of me being excited, talking about how this is what suits us best. And I thought, hang on, Hughes often plays right in the hole, which is what he was doing. And then we saw on Tuesday the pros and cons. He got into such wonderful positions. You can see why he plays him, but he doesn't finish them. So that's why maybe you shouldn't. So
it's a shame, isn't it? It's a shame. I've noticed as well, if you look at the results from today, we our other National League compatriots went through on penalties.
Oh, did they?
And we won't be playing TNS. They lost on penalties. So
tragedy.
Sorry, and I think the Irish team lost as well.
Oh, really?
Bohemians. So it looks like St Mirren under 21's
Bohemian was
away.
crap city after all then.
Either that or we could get Connors Key. You never know.
Oh, hey, there's the derby for you.
Yeah. So
Sean's also asking, will Hooper be back for the next game? Well, we definitely don't know for certain, but my gut feeling's no. I think it's a muscular injury, and I've had the impression, but don't quote me on this, that it's a sort of injury that'll take a few weeks to clear up, and a few weeks from the injury, but I suspect next week will be a bit too soon. It's not like a long-term thing, but my gut feeling is it's not going to happen just yet. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think they want to rush him back. He's a key player, and to be honest, sounds a bit thing, but with Jake Bickerstaff showing a good account of himself, he could. Definitely earn himself a spot, at least on the bench, and get himself 20 minutes against who's it next week? I keep forgetting now. Sutton. So, it's on a broadcaster, isn't it? I'm not going to say that.
Oh yeah.
So it's a late kick-off, but it's one of them ones where if Oswell doesn't get on the score sheet, or you want to bring Oswell off, change it, why not give Jake a chance? He's I feel off the performance he's given today, he's definitely earned a spot on the bench.
Yeah, I think as well. I mean, it's a huge blow to lose Hooper. I think he makes a massive difference, and he's very important to us. But Oswell's done all right in the 2 games, and the fact that he's stood in and done that means that it's not so urgent.
It's reconnected.
Okay. It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not having it. No, I think someone's on the Wi-Fi.
I'll see. We'll wait a minute for the Wi-Fi to.
Yeah, I don't know why the Wi-Fi. That's Phil turned the Wi-Fi off. Just like
What's that?
as Phil Bennett turned the Wi-Fi off.
Yeah, you wonder, don't you? Well, it says it's still connected, but well, it could be connected, but there's no internet, couldn't it, I suppose? Oh, if it's not working, it's not worth to abandon it, won't we? We've done a bet, haven't we? We've done a bet.
Just looking who they've interviewed. Aston Barton,
Oh, yeah.
Dawid. Saw Brian and I saw Jake. Jake's been prepped already. Me and Ollie have done interviews with him, so.
Oh, nice. Well, I'll type that we're going to call it a day, but I won't hit.
I can see you on
return.
my phone, but my TV says you're offline. He's watching us on both streams.
Oh.
Hey!
Way! We're back! I was just typing up, I give up, and then it's happened.
It's just me and you just moaning about not being on.
Oh, what? Yeah, if we were actually on some. Oh,
Oh,
wow,
God.
that'd be something. Anyway, hello, there we're back.
Hi.
Tardude says, should we have a reserve side? In an ideal world, I'd say yeah.
Yeah,
It's just whether it can be done in a practical and financially viable way, I think.
I think paying, at the level we're at, paying players to play in a reserve side is counterintuitive. You'd rather it be in the first side, but I can see that with going up, easily a reserve side would be back in place. I think it's one of them ones that it's a lot of money to be paying players to have games like that, which is it's frustrating, I know, but unfortunately it's like the cold hard economics of it, isn't it, really? That's why the youth. It's a shame that in the youth side you can't play like overage players, like a 3 overage player limit or something like that, but it comes with it. I think a lot of our players who are on that cusp are just loaned out instead, like Matty Sargent and Jack Thorne, who would have featured today if they weren't, but they're both getting vital first team experience, and I guess with Jake Bickerstaff and everyone else who started today that was a young player, they'll probably get their chance. We're kind of blessed really to have like Welsh Premier League sides who are so willing to take players and they play at a good level that, you know, can kind of help them along.
Yeah. I suppose in a way as well for the young players, it's about finding the right level of competition for them. If you got a reserve team made up mostly of young players and you throw them into a senior reserve league, they could get hammered every week and that would hamper their development.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, if you got a youth team playing below themselves, they're not stretching themselves, and that hampers their development. So it's a fine balance in a way, isn't it?
It is a fine balance, and I think that's up to the management and that to kind of judge it as on a player basis. We've got a full youth setup here with Dan and that, so they'll be making sure each player plays at the level that they can really. You've got 2 players in the Welsh Premier League now, so and they'll come back stronger for it, especially I think Matty more than Jack, because Jack's in a really good side in Newtown, and Airbus with Matty are struggling, and that's kind of good for his. It sounds bad, but because they're struggling, he can kind of learn how to face a bit of adversity, because some youth players, their heads go down when they have a bit of a bad game, whereas they've got to rally together to keep themselves up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's one of them. It's one of them ones that you'll think that, well, I've been through that. I know how to go from a 1-0 loss to a 2-1 win.
Doesn't hurt to show you can stand up and be counted in those circumstances,
Exactly.
does it?
Exactly. So it's in a way, in lieu of having a reserve side, we're putting our young players into semi-professional teams in the local area, which is just as good, probably even better, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's nice to have a reserve team, but it's got to be done realistically, I suppose, as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, and like you've got these reserve leagues, but I don't think much is really given to them now. It's all under 23 sides and stuff like that, and that's the main driving force. If you're not hitting 23 and you're not performing, you kind of booted out the door, and you then got to drop down and find your level yourself. So it's best finding them when they're 17, 18, finding their level for them, and then helping them to get to where we want to be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, hello, make Kevin Druids a feeder club. Well, they'd have to agree to that, wouldn't they? That's
Exactly.
the problem.
It's kind of an involuntary, not involuntary. It's very like a voluntary one. They do have a lot of our. They've had youth players in the past. It's got a very heavily Wrexham influence. You don't want anything official though, do you? So I don't think they'd be glad to be called a feeder club.
Yeah,
I think they treat themselves as a top flight Welsh opposition.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's interesting that, isn't it? Really, because it's got to be important to perception as well. I think. And you know, I think in Britain particularly we have an attitude of we don't want to be seen as this sort of feeder club, and on the continent sometimes people are more willing to accept that. I'm not saying that that's the right way to do it, but yeah, I mean a lot of the released Wrexham players and released Wrexham youth players then find their level in League of Wales, so it could be quite a good sort of partnership. I wouldn't be looking to cherry pick talent from the League of Wales, but to give players experience, that could work out.
We used to have a team, didn't we, in the second tier, a Wrexham reserve side. Was it back in the 90s? And this year I've seen them on old
reserve team or
a reserve or like some sort of like a team that was called Wrexham, but they were like a reserve team. It was one I just saw on like one of the old tables, and it had Wrexham in there. So I was wondering.
I mean, we certainly had a reserve team.
Yeah. So
in the early 70s, the sort of young players who became the sort of basis of that really strong 70s side were played in what was called a Floodlight League, which is before my time. But as I understand it, what we basically did was we scouted Merseyside really well, brought lots of young lads who weren't quite Liverpool or Everton standard here, people like Alan Dwyer and Graham Whittle and all these young lads, you know, and sort of blooded them in this proper reserve team against Football League teams. When I started watching as a kid, you could come here and watch the reserves play, and it was quite good fun sometimes to come and come and watch a match. Sort of reserves would play other reserve teams, or teams like Altrincham. I remember seeing Altringham's first team playing here, and we absolutely hammered them. But yeah, so reserves, you know, it was a proper reserve league, but I don't know. We're not quite in that situation now, I don't think, are we? Probably.
No, it's one of them ones.
Maybe that. Tardude asking, does Bickerstaff deserve a chance with the first team? Well, you were very impressed, weren't you?
Yeah. I thought he commanded himself well, and he took his shot well, and that's all you can ask really from a striker. He got it, you know, on his debut, he gets himself a goal, like, albeit in a bizarre Scottish Cup. He had that one chance properly in front of goal where it was a striker scores, and he put it away. The other ones really were, it's more about squaring off the ball rather than actually having a shot off. So I think he at least deserves a place on the bench. Give him a chance, you know. We're playing next week, but at the same time, is another run in this cup or the FA Trophy good for him, because he can then play in that, which is competitive football.
Yeah.
I assume that in the next round of this cup, Bickerstaff would start again.
Yeah, you'd imagine, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Just kind of hope it's at home again.
Yeah, exactly. Bickerstaff, Cleworth did nothing to hurt the prospects or Szczepaniak.
No, I thought they all played very well.
And Bobby Beaumont made a big tackle right at the end, or we'd have lost 2-1.
He did, and it kind of shows that some of the youth players have just got to have a bit more time with the first team, like Jones and Williams out wide. He just looked a little bit unnerved when he was getting ran at by experienced pros with Ayr. But that's stuff that comes with time, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was enjoyable. I'm not sure if I'm going to enjoy the trek to wherever we play the next round. But
Rex Trek's episode will be fantastic, though, I think.
Be an international affair,
You're going to love that one.
I'm dreading Aldershot.
Oh, God. Nobody likes Aldershot.
Yeah. We didn't say that. We didn't say that. Oops. And on that bombshell, I reckon we probably should pack up and let you guys get on with the rest of your lives. So Wrexham through to the next round of the Tunnocks Caramel Wafer, what the heck's it called? Challenge Cup. Ooh, best team in the history of Scottish football. Good night, everybody. Oh, hang on, there's a message.
Is
Is
it?
the next match 100%? No. It's an open draw.
Yeah, open draw. Yeah.
Yep. So it'll just be whoever we get, home or away. There's no restrictions on who we can play, as I understand it, or where we play. It's just an open cup draw now. So
could get Solihull away. No way.
no.
We could just double it up as a league fixture and just whoever wins that one.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. Because the problem with this, of course, is Saturdays we are falling behind, and that's why we weren't that desperate to win this game, were we? Because we're now going to fall behind again with another match.
Yeah, we're going to have a
Yeah.
lot of Tuesday nights, so be prepared.
Eek. Oh well, that's showbiz, eh?
Exactly.
Right, we should scarper, shouldn't we? I
Yeah,
reckon.
we should, yeah, everyone's gone.
Yep. Tom has successfully got through this broadcast without me throwing water at him.
Yet.
Hey. And I haven't quite humiliated myself yet, so I'm going to quit while I'm ahead. Good night, all.